So I think it's time to start. So I welcome you all after this long break, this long summer break. And so as you can see today there are two presentations from Greece and from France. Unlike what I wrote you by email, today the agenda is a little bit different because discussion about updatings on the ETNA project will be after the two presentations during the management meeting, the management committee. As I wrote you in the email, the management committee is officially addressed to project leaders. But actually, it's open to everybody. So anyone who wishes to listen to the meeting and also to the updatings of the project is free to attend. And so remember to stay tuned after the two presentations. Now, what else? As you will remember, there is always the chance to make your own questions after each presentation, so you can write your questions on the chat. Because now I think I will switch off microphone rights for participants, as there may be some background noises. Okay, so before giving the floor to Taxiarchis, I just would like to upload his presentation. Here it is. So, okay, I will let Taxiarchis introduce his own organization. Thank you.
Thank you, Sabrina. So, my presentation is about CERTH HIT. CERTH is for Center for Research and Technology, ELAS, and HIT is Hellenic Institute of Transport. So let's go to the first slide. So HIT is the national organization devoted to the promotion and conduct of transport research in Greece. It was established in March of 2000, and it is part of CERTH together with 5 more institutes. It is supervised by the Ministry of Education. And on the two photos on the bottom of the slide, it's on the right is our premises in Thessaloniki, and on the left is our premises in Athens. So CERTH HIT's primary objectives are these are highlights. Most of them have to do with transport, like scientific and research support for transport policy formulation to ministries and other organizations, Greek organizations mostly. Another objective is transport research evaluation, publications of handbooks that again have to do with the transport system rules and guidelines, and in general transport research that has to do with transport industry and activities, transport activities in general. We will see all these fields in more detail in the next slides. Like safety in transport, it's one of the sectors of our expertise. Has to do with drivers' behavior analysis, standards for rail and road infrastructure design, statistical analysis of accidents and intervention proposals. And we also have a lot of equipment and labs on transport safety. These are some of our equipment related to simulators. The first one on the left is our dynamic simulator. We usually use this one for pilot testing of different projects. We have several kind of scenarios for driving. For example, you can simulate driving in a city, driving in different weather conditions like snow, rain, etc. And you can also simulate driving under alcohol effect. The central photo is our motorbike simulator. It's one of the few existing in Europe. And we are applying a lot of different functionalities on this simulator as well. And the last one is our safety awareness van. Inside this van there is a static driving simulator. And this was built for Bob project, which was a project against drinking and driving. With the third van, we take the third van and we go to different kind of events or conferences and demonstrate to children and adults how to properly drive and what they are supposed to do in different driving conditions. Another sector that we specialize is environmental impact of transport related to climatic change. So in detail, this has to do with advanced algorithms of logistics management for responding to catastrophes, natural catastrophes. Simulation models for assessing climate change impact of transport, economic impact assessment of climate change in Greece, green vehicle initiatives, and state-of-the-art laboratory for environmental impact assessment of transport. This is the equipment we have for this sector. On the top left photo you can see a van that we have adapted different kind of sensors. These sensors have to do with pollution and weather conditions. Below it there is a hybrid moped and on the photos just beside it we can also see some hybrid scooters and Toyota Prius, which is a hybrid vehicle. Again, we are using all this equipment for the needs of European projects that have to do with transport. Another sector of specializing is freight transport and logistics. Again, you see in more detail some of the sectors like intermodal freight transport systems planning, optimization algorithms for logistics management, assessment of new technologies implementation in freight transport, and security and efficiency of global logistics. This is one of the big projects we were involved concerning freight transport. These are just a couple of images that can give you a very general idea of this project. Another sector we specialize is urban mobility. This has to do with methodologies and service for public transport quality assessment, algorithms for pre-trip intermodal route planning, algorithms for real-time route guidance, dynamic simulation models, and development and operation of electronic mobility centers. This is some screenshots of an application that is used for intelligent traffic control and management, which is used in the center of Thessaloniki. We cooperate with this center as a CERTH organization. Here are some photos that give more detail in what exactly is going on in the traffic center of Thessaloniki. Here we can see, for example, some of the cameras used for traffic management inside the city of Thessaloniki. Okay, here we can see the VMS signs. And here there are some photos of premises of traffic control center. In cooperation with this center, we have developed our own website that gives a lot of information. For example, in public transport routing, you have used sites like this, I guess, in the past. You can just set your starting point and your destination point, and you get all the public transport sectors that you have to follow in order to reach the destination. In fact, all this, like the previous one, public transport routing, car routing that we now see on this slide, and the rest of the slides that we are going to see are accessible through your browser, through the URL www.mobithes.gr. I can also write it down for you. So you also have the option to get a route when using your car. You can choose between the fastest route or the one that is more environmental friendly through the environmental friendly routing option. You can get some touristic points of interest, like usually used by tourists. Some real traffic data. Like on this image, on this screenshot, you can see that the green one is low traffic, the yellow streets are for medium traffic, and the red streets are for high traffic. And some environmental data, again with the use of colors on the map, so we know where there is more pollution because of traffic, and when where there is less pollution in the city. There is an educational tool that it is also embedded in this web application. Has to do with giving some instructions on how to drive in a more environmental friendly way. Here are some photos of some events that we try to advertise this to the public. And here is another expertise sector. It's the domotics lab. The domotics lab is a house that is a simulation of a house that is using a lot of automations for controlling your home appliances from a remote distance. You can do that through your mobile device, through your tablet, or through a desktop. And it is also accessible through the wheelchair joystick. This is done this has been done in some projects that have to do with accessibility. So before having widescreen mobile devices, when we had the standard mobile phones, it was better for a person with kinetical problems to use the joystick of his wheelchair, which is connected through Bluetooth connection with the graphical user interface of his mobile device. In more detail, through the devices that are integrated in the domotics lab is a door lock, doorbell, air conditioning devices, dimmable light, switchable lights like lamps, white goods like microwave, grill, coffee machine, and TV. Some of these devices are using wired technologies to connect to in order to get control of them, and some others they are using wireless protocol technologies. The sensors that are integrated in the house are a temperature sensor, humidity, luminance, energy meter, motion detector, door status control, and gas sensor. So this, by the use of domotics, we can see, we can make a lot of tests about mobility in the house. Which means that the user, without having to do a lot of moves, he can interact with almost all the devices of his house, and he can check the status of different rooms anytime he wants from specific places in his house. So again, this concerns accessibility issues. For some projects purposes, again, we have gathered a lot of points of interest and routing details with a lot of accessibility information. This happened in Athens center and Thessaloniki center and Panorama region, and in sometimes for indoor situations. So this has to do with detailed accessibility regarding transportation, such as public transportation, metro, bus, or train, and stations and terminals like bus stops, taxi stations, and airports, how much accessible they are and where exactly. And we also try to find out accessible routes for pedestrians, like routes guiding you to hotels or to restaurants, and how much accessible the hotels or these restaurants are. In fact, we have in this project we have 3 different categories. We had like fully accessible, semi-accessible, and non-accessible points of interest. Here we can see in more detail all these points of interest that we gathered. So in general, for Athens, for center of Athens, we have gathered 234 different points of interests, including hotels, cafe, bar, fast foods, restaurants, shopping points, bus stops, metro stations, tram stops, museums, cinemas, theaters, and sport venues. And over 50 pedestrian routes in the center of Athens. As far as Thessaloniki is concerned, we have gathered 111 POIs. Hotels, again, cafe bars, restaurants, shopping points, ATMs, banks, museums, cinemas, public toilets, sport venues and transportation terminals, and over 20 pedestrian routes. Some things we've done concerning social events is we have gathered as proof of concept some data for renting special equipment, and we had done some research on braille maps of Thessaloniki, like you can see in the photo in the bottom of the slide. Here is a web application that has to do with personal support. This is information on past and forthcoming events for people with disabilities. So anybody can add a new event to the database, edit existing events, or delete events from the database. In the beginning we had a lot of events in our database, but as time went by, most of the people stopped using it, so now it's still online, but with not much access rate. Here are some of the accessibility related projects that CERTH was related, like Ask IT, Access to All, Remote, Accessible, ETNA, EGIS and Cloud for All. It's the new project that we are in. Here are quite a few projects that we were participating and had to do with road safety. In more detail, accident analysis related projects are Trace, Aprosys and Dakota. Driver monitoring related projects like Wake, Agile and Sensation. Infrastructure related projects like Good Route and InSafety. Active safety systems related projects like Safe Rider, related to motorcycle riders, Prevent and Watch Over. Also some projects about driver behavior like Pepper, Druid and To Be Safe. Large-scale tests related projects, Prologue and Telephot. Some projects concerning schools and transport, like Slow and Safe Way to School. Again, this is our equipment used for testing in some of the projects we just went through. On the top left photo, it's an application that is checking where exactly the driver is looking to, and this is for monitoring the fatigue of the driver. So it was a human behavior study, and on the photo that we see from the street, we can see some yellow dots. These yellow dots are for indicating the white lanes. This application is measuring the lane deviation. On the bottom of the slide, we can see one of our experimental cars. It has like 2 or 3 servers on the track. We have 2 or 3 servers on the track of the car, and on the photo that we can see the sign of 100 kilometers per hour. This is V2I, which means vehicle to infrastructure, and it's like getting different signs from specific spots while driving on the street, on national roads, usually on national roads. The third image on the bottom, which is on the right side, is about connecting somebody through all these cables, so we can get some measurements that have to do with brain transmissions and brain functions. Again, we are using the simulator, motorbike simulator. The dynamic simulator that you can see are these ones with the blue car, smart car, and on the top we can see the static simulator, which was on the van, in the van that I showed you in the beginning of my presentation. And we also have a virtual reality unit, which is used mainly for representation, 3D representation of vehicle different components. Again, this has to do with our equipment concerning environmental pollution and our hybrid vehicles. Some of the servers equipment we have in our premises. We have actively participated in FERSI and NECTRI, which are 2 very big associations related to transport. We have contributed in road safety, like in universities and different events around Greece. We have participated in the Bob campaign, as I told you, with a lot of visits to schools and a lot of discussions. In more detail, we have published books for 3 grades in school, 500 pictures of explanatory figures, book for teachers, a lot of multimedia stuff. Improvement of work zones, traffic safety. This is one of the projects that we were involved, and we used it in order to give seminars and for road constructors and engineers. And we have also used some software that we did for this project. Okay, this was about drinking and driving, and we have participated in 2 sports that have widely been broadcasted. Here are some other partnerships that we have, like FERSI and NECTRI, like I told you in the previous slide, and we also cooperate with, we also belong to CERTH Forum, Ertico Forum, and European Environment Agency. And that's all about CERTH-KIT that I found more interesting in order to present to you. So if you have any questions or anything, any comment, I would be glad to hear you.
Yeah, Taxiarchis, there are some questions which were written on the chat, so I think you can also read on your own, but I can read for you if you want. There is a question by Renzo.
So the first one is by Renzo, or there is another one before that?
And there is another one following it, which is related to the first.
So this is how do you collect info on accessibility of each point of interest on alternative routes? Do you have researchers going to the place and take direct measurement of accessibility? Yeah, in fact, this is how we did it. Some specialized colleagues went to the specific points of interest and measured the accessibility of each point. I'm not in a position to give you a lot of details on this, but I can let you know in more detail if you want through a document or about how exactly the procedure took place. But I just know that everything happened on the spot. So the next is my question would be related to Renzo's. What do you call accessible? Is there a definition, and do you involve people with disabilities to test the accessibility, give feedback? People, first of all, what we call accessible. It has to do with accessing all different parts of a specific place. Like, for example, if you are in a restaurant, like all the parts of the restaurant that anyone could go should be also accessible to people with wheelchairs, or like some ramps in the entrance, and we measure the angle of the ramps and everything in order to see if this is feasible for a wheelchair user to enter the place. It has to do with lighting and a lot of different features that again I'm not really aware of because of my specific positions here as a developer. So yeah, people with disabilities were involved in accessing such places and giving us feedback on the measurement on the grade that we gave to the specific place. But as you understand, this is not so easy to check for all accessible points. So this was done only for some of them. I don't. Do you want to ask me something more? Do you want to explain something in detail, in more detail?
Okay. Thank you, Taxiarchis. I don't know if Renzo has still one question for you. Yeah.
Hi Taxiarchis, can you hear me?
Hello Renzo, yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great to hear from you. I have a technical question. When you spoke about the smart home laboratory, I know you explained to me in the past that you're using IP protocols to communicate among the various devices. So my question is, in your experience, how robust is this approach? As I understand it will depend on the computer has to be always switched on, compared with other industrial standards of smart home. I don't know if the question is clear.
No, I didn't exactly understand. Can you please rephrase it a bit?
When you in your smart home research, I know that the communication between, for example, the lamp and the switch is made through IP protocol. Instead of using other industrial protocols like, for example, the Connex. So my question is that this means that the smart home is depending on a computer that has to be switched on. Does it work? Is it robust enough, or in your experience?
So you are asking me if it's enough to have internet in our house in order to control our devices?
Yes, if it is safe and it works. Sometimes, the computer server may go down, and this may make problem. So in your experience, your approach is good enough? Does it work well?
Yes, so my experience is that yes, you can have all security that you need in order to have a secure application for the smart home. I mean, even if the electricity goes down, if you are well equipped and you have a UPS, you can also continue interacting with your house without having electricity at home. The protocol we are using so in order that the devices communicate with the server is not it has to do with some prototypes like FS20, HS300, HMS 300 and some others that are developed by some German company which is called Domologic, and this is our partners from Germany that we have been cooperating in order to build all this infrastructure for the home, for the smart home. It has also some accessibility features, like we have used voice recognition in order to access the devices at home. You all know that the voice recognition is a very complex matter, so sometimes we didn't have the results we really wanted. But as an application for standard use, I can assure you that this can be done in a very easy way and in a very secure way.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you as well.
Thank you
for attending.
I just highlight that there is a request from Catherine who would like to receive the document you were referring to with more details on the process. So just to remind you that maybe you can send her or to the whole consortium the document, maybe just to those who are interested. And
okay, but just let me tell you that there is no document like that, but I meant to create a document, prepare a document and send it to you by asking people who were involved in this how exactly they did it. Of course, maybe they have material to give me, but didn't have something specific in my mind.
okay then. So
can you, Catherine, can you just write down your email so I can send you?
She's included in the mailing list of ETNA. She's from SPD, but as well I can forward you her email address.
Okay.
If you... Okay. Well, so I don't think there's much time, so I would like to give the floor to Jan Bertel from HACAVIE, and the presentation is ready. So please, Jan, you can start.
Yes, thank you, Sabrina. I will present you my organization, HACAVIE. Do you hear me well? HACAVIE is an association created.
Sorry, yeah, if I interrupt you. We can hear you very well, so no problem. You can go on.
Okay, thank you. HACAVIE is an association created in 1988 over 20 years to work for disabled and elderly people, and especially on home accessibility and autonomy of people. We have 3 different actions on local and national actions. The first action is the Resource Center on Assistive Device and Disabilities. It's a national action. The second action is the Regional Center for Personal Autonomy. We work on home accessibility and the choice of assistive device with people of the north of France. And the third action is to prevention to all people. We are going to see the National Resource Center, the first actions. National Resource Center is the heart of HACAVIE. It is using by us local workers, social workers, occupational therapists, and used all the time, and to inform and deliver neutral and exhaustive information to professional and public. This action is specifically funding by National Social Security, private donation, and a public-private partnership with buying groups for hospitals and clinics. The Resource Center has documentation on all assistive technology on the market, on the French market, and laws and all over information for disabled people. We publish review, comparatives, show visits like RACARE, studies on assistive device. All information is accessible over internet freely. We have 2 websites, the database HANDICAT and the website HACAVIE, and on 2 magazines, one trimestrial, more general, and one monthly, more technical on assistive device for professionals. The database HANDICAT. HANDICAT is one of the main activities of the Resource Center. It's the French database on assistive device on the French market, the more exhaustive. There are more than 10,000 assistive devices classified by ISO classification, and a simplified French classification to general public. Each product has technical and general details like price, funding in France, size, weight, and a lot of other fields that change with type of products. And also, of course, manufacturers and national distributors with address, website, etc. And this database is work with ETNA in European. The second activities of HACAVIE, more local, is the Regional Center for Personal Autonomy. It's a team composed by occupational therapists and social workers who go to meet people to build projects for autonomy with assistive device, with home accessibility or other projects of this type. We use the documentation of HACAVIE, of course, and database, etc., computers, etc., etc. For each project, we have individual treatment. The occupational therapist do evaluation of personal autonomy in his home and outside, and after this, they realize a recommendation in correlation with the project of the person, for example, map of the home to adapt, or choice of assistive device to increase the autonomy. After this, social workers follow the project and search the funding to realize the project. And we follow the project until its realization. It's closed. The third activities, it's more specifically on elderly people. It's prevention action yes, for elderly people in prevention, people difficulties evaluation. We're doing an difficulties evaluation in people who have 60, 70, 80, 90, and we write a project to keep autonomy for this time and for the future. Human and service help, assistive device, home accessibility. When they are so young, that 60, 70, it's usually human and service help, and after maybe assistive device and home accessibility. And the people who has a re-evaluation every 2 years of their difficulties. This action is funded by national pension funds. So that's all. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Jan.
Yeah.
I would like to know if there is any question to Jan. Maybe you can just raise your hands if you don't want to write it down on the chat, and I will enable your microphone as you like. Okay, I can see there's a question by Renzo. So, Jan, how many people work at maintaining the handicap database?
Yes, on the handicap database we have one documentalist, one occupational therapist who try product and meets manufacturers, one people who work on the database products, and two more persons between the two actions, me, an informatician, and computer analyst, and another occupational therapist. So I think it's 4 full-time persons.
Okay, then I can see that maybe there are some other questions being written on the chat, so I would wait 1 minute more. So, as you can read, there is a question by Mats Lundalf. What kind of services are you offering in the era of AVC?
The service is free to help people to build their projects. So the equipment isn't free, but we help people to search funding to buy the products or to accessibility their house.
Yeah, so you answered to the second question by René. There was another question by Mats Lundal. What kind of services are you offering in the era of augmentative alternative communication?
Yeah, we don't have really works on communications and this type of tools. We don't work with sensorial disabled people, and we have other association we work with us. We work more with people for I don't know the term, but wheelchair or home accessibility, this type of product, but don't communication and brailles and others.
Okay, then there are lots of questions. So the final one. Okay. I don't know if we want to continue discussion because
Again, the price. But for the price information, no, it's really difficult. It's really a work to the manufacturers give us a public price, but it's really important for people who use the database to have the price. So we have people who phone the manufacturers to please give us the product. If you don't give us the product, we are not well represented in the database, etc. But not really easy. But we have a lot of products with the price, 90%, I think.
okay.
The simplified classification.
From Mary. Can you give examples
Yeah.
of simplified classification for the public?
Yeah, it's not really easy. It's a classification with less categories and classified in 5 big categories. One is mobility, the second is communications, third is life daily, and this type of it's difficult to explain all the classification. The reason of this classification is because we have a lot of public person that don't can't use the ISO classification. The professional use well ISO classification, they like it, but the public don't find what they search in the ISO classification. So we have 2 different classifications usable. But personally, we prefer ISO classification, but the public prefer the others.
So thank you very much, Jan. I also would like to thank the other speaker, Taxiarchis. I think now it's time for the management committee. The last thing I would like to remind you is the next webinar, which will be on the 14th of November, so it's always on Wednesday. And on that day, there will be the presentation of ACE Center and the FTB, the Research Institute of Technology and Disability. Now, as I told you, you are free to participate to the management committee. Also, if you wish to hear from the latest updatings and advancements of the ETNA project. Okay, then. So I think I can